to zero. The Chinese currency is going to zero. It's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
You buy Bitcoin, you hold Bitcoin.
That within a decade, crypto and blockchain technology will be the 12th sector of the S&P.
Raise interest rates right now!
Look at this chart. Look what it did on March 20th, 2020. And look what it's doing now. In this video, I'm going to explain why this is bigger than anyone understands. But don't go giving your grandma a wet willy just yet. What this guy has to say will leave you absolutely decimated. So sit back, grab a juice, and think about kissing your grandma, because this is about to be big. I'm your host, Spoink McDoink, and in this video, something absolutely mesmerizing has been discovered, and it may change your mind forever. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications to never miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. And as well, if you're interested in any bonuses or deals for trading, getting altcoins, a lot of great stuff. Make sure to check out all the links below as well. Make sure to delegate to our TSC stake pool if you're also interested in receiving free society tokens from Ape Society for the next roughly 35 epochs. One epoch down, so roughly about 34 more epochs. Takes 2 to 3 minutes, and it stays in your wallet. Absolutely very big. Without any further ado, let's dump in. Insane. In this video, we have a chart so big, your sister's going to be thinking about it for the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's absolutely ginormous. So before we take a look at that, let's take a look at Bitcoin's chart, which for the last 8 months has been trading, 8.5 months has been trading within this descending channel here. And just for the very teensy-weensy little squeak to the upside back in the middle of March, we broke out of it temporarily. We tried for multiple weeks to hold it, and we failed, guys. We failed holding this. We came back into it. And now Bitcoin is literally at the very bottom of this once again. So realistically, we've seen massive carnage. We've seen massive dumpage. But let's be honest here. If Bitcoin breaks 20K, okay, if Bitcoin breaks out of this descending channel that it's been in for the last 8.5 months, at this very second, it's at the very, very bottom of it. If Bitcoin breaks out of this, not only is it the very first time it's broken out of this channel since it's been inside of it, but also it would be breaking 20K, which would be the very first time that 20K has been broken since we've blasted out of it, since we blasted above it back roughly 2 years ago. And it'll be the first time in history that Bitcoin has gone on to set an all-time high in a bull market, had a bear market, entered a new bull market, and then entered a bear market where it went below that previous all-time high. It would be the first time in history that's ever happened. So needless to say, it is a huge deal. And many people believe that if we do break 20K, get ready. And well, we're going to be talking about that also in a second. But if we take a look here with Bitcoin, on this weekly chart, before we get into the good stuff right here, on this weekly chart for Bitcoin, Bitcoin has already experienced roughly about, we can just actually measure it again, roughly about a 70% pullback. At its height, about 71%. And remember, months ago, everyone was saying, get ready for a horrible bear market. We're going down 85% like we did in the previous bear markets. Well, we've already dumped 70%. 85% would bring us all the way down here to about 10K, which billionaire investor Jeff Gundlach is actually saying is possible. And I'm going to be honest, if we do breach 20K, it is very likely that that amount of liquidations that will most likely result from that could push us very low. And it's at this point, it's a reality I think we have to accept, right? If 20K breaks, and again, that's a big if because we haven't seen that. We saw Bitcoin go all the way down to about 20. We came within a couple buckaroonies of 20K. The amount of buy orders at 19,999, I'm sure is immense, right? The amount of people that are trying to buy right under 20K is probably immense. But imagine the liquidations if we breach 20K and then just, maybe go to 19,800. A lot of liquidations, 19,700. You can imagine how crazy it could get, right? It could get ginormously dumpy. And this is really the moment of truth. As Bitcoin is on the verge of being the most oversold, it is the most oversold it's ever been, after having the least explosive bull run in Bitcoin's history in terms of percentage, right? Because again, a lot of, I mean, the story is as old as time, honestly. If you go to the Bitcoin dominance chart, over time, Bitcoin has become less and less dominant. So actually, we go to, I think it's BTC.D. Yeah, this is looking back at the history of Bitcoin, it's less and less dominant over time, right? I mean, the further you go back, the more dominant it was, and it looks as though it's just getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So, more money going into altcoins as opposed to Bitcoin. And again, I think that partially resulted in Bitcoin not receiving quite as much pumpage as it could have. Again, topping out right at about 69,000. Nice. But before we continue with that, the big story here is the DXY is printing some bearish divergence here. And if we look on this chart, the last time we saw that actually was back in March of 2020. When? Exactly when we saw the crash. Exactly when we saw the crash and the unlimited money printing. Now, again, the macroeconomic environment is much different than it was back then, but now we see something similar with this nice run up here, and then a very quick drastic pullback, a bounce to new highs, to new local highs, and at which the RSI printed bearish divergence, just like we see here. And that's what we're seeing with the DXY. So, and there are a lot of other things hinting, right? It's not like the dollar is strong, absolutely not. But the reason the DXY is pumping is because the dollar is stronger than all of the other currencies that it's being compared to. So people look at this and they think, wow, why is the dollar just going up? It's not really. The dollar's garbage. It's just inflating like baloney. But compared to other currencies, it's doing better. But is it really, though? That's the big question. Is it really doing better? That's the really big question. Because, again, I think a lot of people expect just because inflation is so high that the dollar could continue to go on an uptrend. I personally think that this could be a big switcheroo where a lot of people might get caught off guard by the fact that the DXY is actually maybe not as strong as you think it is. Okay, and the dollar is not as strong as people think it is. And really, this bearish divergence is being printed for the past 2 months, basically. So again, this is big. If it follows what it did last time, then we are in for a nice drop here, some trading sideways, and then potentially a much bigger drop. Because remember what happened last time. It dropped for multiple years, and it went on to set like the lowest. It tests the area, the lowest that it was for like about a decade. And as well, is it possible we do go to 10K? So billionaire investor Jeff Goonlock says he will not be shocked to see Bitcoin fall to 10K. And again, worries about the financial health of hedge fund Three Arrows and lender Celsius have shaken the confidence in the market, right? It almost seems like every week another lender or hedge fund is going underwater in crypto. He says it looks like it's being liquidated. I'm not bullish at 20 or 21,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 10K, he said here. We've already seen around the edges some blowups in parts of the crypto world, and that could be foreshadowing some problems. Speculation has been growing around Three Arrows, which has been steadily building a holding in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. It's possibly facing insolvency after $400 million in lender liquidations. And this puts further pressure on Bitcoin as well. Celsius is freezing withdrawals and other account activity. Obviously, we all know what happened with Luna. It just doesn't look great. Is BlockFi next? Right? I mean, like, what's going to happen here? And again, this bear market is just showing that these yields of 20, 30, a trillion % for just staking in these platforms doesn't work. It's not. There's no longevity in that. But as well, I think it's very important to highlight this. The main point, the bottom will be in when the stock market bottoms. So Bitcoin does follow the stock market. And the worst stock market bear cycle usually lasts 2 to 3 years. And we're already about 6 months into this one, potentially even longer, depending on when you really see this market. Well, I think crypto kind of foreshadowed a little bit first before the stock market. But coming off the biggest bull run in history, yes, there's a war, supply chain issues, quantitative tightening, inflation. He's basically saying I can't provide a target or a date, but it looks like they could get worse before they get better. And I agree. I think that's very, very likely the case. We need to see the stock market bottom, at which point, or at the current time, it absolutely does not look like it has bottomed at all. There's no signs of that so far. But specifically with Bitcoin, we have been holding up. The stock market dumped today, and Bitcoin has been holding up okay. Realistically, yeah, this is a huge moment of truth because all it takes is for the stock market to just keep tumbling a little bit more. And if that does break the camel's back of Bitcoin right here, then we all know what happens after 20K. It can get very, very bad. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications to never miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts as well. If you're interested in any bonuses for shorting or longing the market, there is over $12,000 in bonuses combined with all of the links below. If you're interested in trading or getting altcoins, remember it's risky, but if you've been holding, like many people told you to do for the last year, only holding and only staking, well, those staking platforms are pretty much gone now, right? That's one of the things we just talked about. Celsius. Remember everyone earning so much on Luna, right? I mean, this space is incredibly risky. But as well, if you are interested in earning great APY with your ADA, make sure to stake it in our pool. In addition, you'll earn society tokens from the Ape Society for about 6 more months, which is huge. You know, who knows what the value of these bad boys could be. But I'm staking, so I'm going to be earning, already am earning them. And they are distributed through drip drops. And I'll be making a tutorial in the future. I'm not in a hurry to, you know, claim them just yet, because right now I'm just accumulating. And without any further ado, that's it for me.